What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Sin City Crypto PM stream, where we only focus on fundamental and technical analysis of all your favorite projects in the cryptocurrency space. Got a packed show today. A lot to talk about. Is a Bitcoin recovery coming soon? The lower time frames tell us that potentially we could see a reversal coming. What do I mean? I'll go over that. We're also going to take a look at some altcoins, and let's kind of give you a rundown of what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what whales are doing and what retail is doing. We'll take a look at, damn it, I didn't want to show that. So I got a surprise for you. One of the most well-respected voices in all of the world has a message for all of you. And so I'm excited to share that. Also, I'm going to talk a little bit about Polygon and an interesting pattern we're seeing here for Polygon-matic. We'll take a look at some stats from Nansen. We'll dive a little bit into AI, some of my favorite AI projects and the ones that I'm currently still holding. And then we'll take a look at some funding rates, and maybe, just maybe, we'll put another trade in. We put a trade in yesterday, and we actually cashed out in profit. We had a limit order set on BTC, a short limit order that filled. We had one for Avalanche that filled. We closed those both out. I think the Bitcoin trade, we closed out for like a 33% profit, and the AVAX one around 24% profit. I do have another limit order place that we sent out to our Patreon members. So shout out to you guys if you are part of our Patreon. My name is David. I'm excited to have you join me on today's show. One thing I ask of you: one, like the video. Two, also please be active in the chat. If there's anything you want me to look at, let me know. Commentary, questions, whatever. I'm thinking about doing maybe a Q&A at the very end. And so depending on how it goes, we'll see. So again, thank you all. And a quick shout out to the people that are here. Poman, Crypto Billy. Love that, man. J Violet, Destroyer, Mario, Blue Man Music said, Olaf from Vegas. Have you been by the studio yet, Blue Man Music? If you haven't, you should reach out to me and we'll get you in the studio. New England Bass Tracker said reversal is in. Maybe we'll take a look at that. And then Daniel Clifford and Crypto Pitbull. Rob Dog said, gang, gang, gang. What's up, brother? How you doing? Let's take just a glance. A little glance. Also, let me know what you guys think. You guys like my new backdrop here, guys? Yeah. I had my guy come over here. We hung these up. I wasn't a fan of the two random pictures and the white wall behind me. And so looks a little nicer. And so yeah, let me know what you guys think in the chat. All right. Bitcoin, 84,171. I am not convinced personally yet that a reversal is in, but what the 4 hour is showing us, actually the 1 hour is showing us as well, is a bullish divergence on the lower time frame. Let's start on the 1 hour. Bullish div on the 1 hour for BTC. And what is a bullish divergence? You're making higher lows on the RSI, and you're making lower highs on the price action. So if we go back here, you can see I got the RSI plotted here. And you can see here, each time we've seen a leg up or down, the RSI has been hitting higher lows, okay? What does that mean? That means the velocity of the sellers is starting to lose steam. They aren't able to drive the momentum down as far as the relative strength goes. And then you take a look at what is happening on Bitcoin's price action on the lows. Well, you take a look. This was a low, right? That kind of coincided with what we saw with the RSI. This was kind of our second low, our third low, and our fourth low. So we're making, again, lower lows on the price and higher lows on the RSI. If you look on the 4 hour, same thing, right? Lower lows on the price, higher lows on the RSI. You're also seeing some potential bullishness on the MACD. On the 1 hour, you can see, I believe we just got a crossover on our MACD. Let me just zoom in here and take a look. I don't think, nope, not yet. They're kissing, right? They got their lips together. It's like a peck. Come on, bro, just French that sucker, French it. And so we haven't had an official crossover on the MACD yet, but it's looking like it's going to cross over, and we're seeing momentum on the oscillator here, on the histogram, is starting to lose steam. And but again, this is on the lower time frame. If we zoom out to the daily, you can see we've attempted to retake that 86.5 level On yesterday's candle, well, technically it's still today, but a brand new candle just started. But this one here, a lot of indecision in the market, right? As you can see, big wicks to the upside, big wick to the downside, and price closes right where it opened. Although it closed higher than it opened, right? That's why the candle's green. And so we failed the retest. Now we are seeing that this little box I drew, which is from around 81.9 on the top side, bottom side 71.893, which is my max pain scenario for BTC. You can see we're catching some support there, which is good. What I expect in the short term is I expect this upper level to give and us to come back and retest that 71.8. And then from there, I think we're going to get a really, really nice V-shaped recovery. But you take a look at every time Bitcoin has had a large spill-off, we've taken everything back. I mean, here's your first one, right? Your first one, we drew down around 13%. And although we didn't take everything back, that was our first high we got. Bitcoin immediately rallied around 7%. You take a look back here on the 7th of January. Bitcoin drew down 10%. And then we had that nasty wick down to 89K, but on the close of the very next candle to the next high, we gained 18%. And so you can even go a little further back. Anytime we've seen big spill-offs, Bitcoin price rebounds in a V-shaped recovery, right? We just are not seeing that, right? So there's not momentum on the bull side. The bears are winning this battle. And again, I do expect BTC to have a little further downside, but that's okay. You know why? Because my spot bags are fine. I don't plan on touching them. And I just essentially I arb or hedge by placing short trades. And so, again, I do have a limit order on a short. It hasn't gotten filled yet. I do expect it to go a little bit higher. The target the price I'm targeting is around 85.4, 85.5. Then we're going to ride this thing back down to around $82,000. Should be a nice trade setup. But on the lower time frames, again, could we see a reversal in the short term? All we're seeing play out here on the 1 hour and really on any time frame is a bunch of bear flags, right? We see big price moving down. We see an uptrending channel, break to the downside. Big price moving down, uptrending channel, big break to the downside. Big price move down, up, down. And you're seeing a very similar setup now, again, right? While continuously putting in lower lows and lower highs. Eventually, this thing should create just like a falling wedge or a falling channel, which those typically break to the upside. But again, short term, price action bearish, putting in shorts until the market sentiment or the structure of the chart changes. Then we'll flip and we'll start longing support levels. So let me know what you guys think. I know Rob's on the complete opposite side of the spectrum. He thinks we're going to get to 90K by tomorrow. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm curious to know what you guys in the chat think as far as price action for BTC. Xerox said, how do you feel about H-bar? I love H-bar. Love H-bar. You know, we're going to do an H-bar video today. We got caught up with some other stuff. So we'll be doing an H-bar video tomorrow, kind of giving you guys an update on price action and exactly what's going on. Istophobic said, I'm tired, boss. Me too. Daniel said, holding out pretty well considering BlackRock sold a little. You know, I was actually, let me see if the numbers came in, which every time I stream, the complete numbers are not in for the ETF flows, but let's take a peek. Yeah, there's, I mean, here you guys can take a look. Nothing is in. The only thing we got in right now is Franklin Templeton, minus 7.2 mil. Grayscale's expensive products, 7.3. So right now we're at a net 20 million outflows. We did see zero from ARK, which is good because it was on a 3-day streak of negative flows, so outflows. But these are the big ones here, BlackRock and Fidelity. What are they going to show? Are they going to show buying? Are they going to show selling? Let's actually go over to the macro charts and let's take a look at what the Dow Jones did today. Dow Jones down 193 points, so not a big sell-off day, but also not really super insignificant either. As you can see, bulls try to push the price up to that $43,900. And eventually we came back down and we're kind of settled in right around 43.2. So that was down. We'll take a look at the triple Q. That was down 2.78%. You see a large liquidation here. Large liquidation candle here on to the downside for the NASDAQ. And then the S&P down 1.5%. So I would expect with the markets doing what they're doing, we should have probably seen another, I mean, I don't know. I don't think we saw 1.1 billion. I think we're closer to like that $530 million of outflows, potentially less, maybe $300 to $500 million. But with everything that happened in the stock market, literally everything across the board was down. I would expect that those same traders exited or sold their ETF position in BTC. Now, this chart here, posted by Quinton, 74% of Bitcoin losses came from holders who bought in the last month, right? So lettuce hands. And you can see here, this is aggregated data. And you can see the kind of the legend up here and what each color hue represents. But what is that? What does that just tell you? That tells you the people that get in and they stay for a month, maybe 3 months, 6 months, they're not sold, right? They see their portfolio dip 5, 10%, and they sell out, right? And that's kind of been my base case for the ETF holders is when shit hits the fan and they're scrambling around to figure out what to sell and what to hold, the product that they entered into just 3 months ago or 6 months ago versus a stock of a company that pays them dividends like Coca-Cola that they've been holding on to for 8, 9, 10 years, you take a guess which one they're going to look to sell first. And I think for me, at least, the answer is the Bitcoin or the Ethereum ETFs. And so is this retail driven? Is this institution driven? I fully believe this is majority institution driven, obviously from the numbers and from what you're hearing on the macro side. I think is having a negative effect on the price of BTC. Now, I want to share a video here. You guys remember who this is? You guys remember? I'm sure if I play the video, you remember. But he has a message for all of you. You watching, family member, a friend, who knows? Let's take a listen to what this message is.
Folks, I'm coming for all the gays in the crypto world who are selling at the moment. Whoever is selling is gay. And you got to stop, hold it, stop. Unless you are gay. You are gay.
You are gay. Oh, man. Well, something to lighten up the mood a little bit. And so... I don't know why I thought that was so funny. Hopefully you guys found it as funny as I did, because I'm sure if Robin or Rocco were here on the stream with me, I would probably get a womp, womp, womp. New Type said, I think Rob is LARPing, has no idea what's going on. I'll let him stick up for himself. Oh, hey, Rob. How are you, buddy? Good to see you, man. Rob's in here. You know, I love having differing opinions. That's why I like to bring people on that I don't necessarily agree with. I think to be a solid investor, you have to have multiple kind of opinions, numbers, statistics. You want to be a well-rounded investor, you got to listen to the people that you disagree with almost as much as people you agree with. If you just put yourself in this echo chamber of listening to people that are 100% aligned with your thinking at the moment, you're probably going to get wrecked in one way or another. And so when we bring someone on the show, you don't like their analysis or you think they're wrong, cool, man. It's their opinion. It's what they see. Great. Appreciate it, respect it, and move on. Doesn't mean you have to act on it. Something interesting I saw here. This is from Nansen. And let me just make the sucker full screen here. So these are token net flows, and Polygon is leading the way for token net flows. And so I have this Polygon chart up here, and like most traders, you know, I think this pattern I had on here for about 2.5, 3 weeks. And something interesting is happening within this pattern, right? And I'm not saying it's something that never happens, but overall, this is on a large time frame too. We essentially have a falling wedge. Falling wedges typically break to the upside. But what are we seeing within these falling wedges? Okay, let's take a look. Example 1. Okay. Within the falling wedge, you saw a big price move to the downside, right? Essentially a smaller falling wedge that eventually flips to support, and we see a move up to the upper trend line, okay? The next scenario here, or we can even draw from here. We essentially create a smaller falling wedge within the larger pattern. We flip support into resistance. We flip resistance into support, and price moves its way up to the upper end of the trend line. And well, that is exactly kind of where we are. Not kind of, that is exactly where we are right now. We're seeing a large price movement to the downside. We are currently at the bottom end of this channel. And if history repeats itself, right? If history repeats itself, we should see another move to the upper end of this channel, which puts us right at, drop a flag here. Now, obviously, depending on where this thing breaks out, but let's say this thing goes out till, I don't know, middle of April, you're looking at a 58-cent polygon, okay? So that's a little more than a 2x. So the trade setup for me here is you can try to front run this thing and get in early. Chances are, or not chances are, but maybe this thing doesn't get back to, doesn't follow the same trend it has done twice before, going all the way back to August of 2023. Now, remember, again, this is on the daily. So this pattern really has been in place since February of 2 years ago. So this is a 2-year pattern for Polygon. And so within that pattern, there's been a few trade setups. And one of them is what I'm showing you right now. So for me, at least, I like to set limit orders. It helps keep me disciplined. I want to wait for a breakout above and a retest of this trend line. What did you see here? You saw a breakout above. The breakout from the trend line was around 32%. We had a drawdown of 35%, but the important thing to watch here was, what did price do at this trend line? And price reacted positively. It ended up being support. Now, if you entered here, which is what I would have done, right? You could have entered in and set a stop loss or set a TP at 20% ROI or at 44.2 cents. If you held this thing for the bigger move, you would have held through a significant pullback from the top here, which brought us outside of the larger falling wedge pattern, and it gave you a 34% pullback. But then the pump from there was around 170%. And so the trade setup for me here on Polygon is as follows. Wait for a breakout, right? Wait for price to come break out. I would expect it to meet some resistance right at 35 cents. And wait for a retest back to around that 26.80 to 27 cent level. And then if this thing plays out, you can have partial take profits. You can have one take profit right at this resistance here, which is 35.04 cents. You can even zoom out to the hourly or the 4-hour candles and take a look at where's the next level of resistance, okay? And just visually, 43.68 cents. So you can have another partial take profit at 43.68 cents. If you want to be more cautious and ride this thing up in waves and then have your full take profit at the top end of this channel, which again, depending on where this thing breaks out, you're looking at anywhere between 63.7 cents and 57.3 cents. So that's a nice little trade setup on Polygon. From a technical side, from a fundamental side, I want to see what Polygon does. Now, I know the ZK chain, the aggregator chain, they have their own layer 1. They're a roll-up for ETH, yada, yada, yada. I want to see which of those products Polygon launched is going to be the breadwinner. Now, when we talked about Polygon back in the last cycles, a lot of it was NFTs, right? They had to deal with Starbucks. I believe they did a deal with Nike for NFTs. That kind of fell by the wayside. Those two companies pulled those projects and products. And Polygon was kind of left, you know, that meme of Will Smith from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air just standing in that empty room and looking around. There's nothing in the living room. That's kind of where I feel like Polygon is at, but we'll see. And again, going back to these metrics as far as token inflows, Polygon is by far #1 in net flows. And so we'll see when this thing breaks out, though. I mean, if you want to do a measured move on this one, right, you just go right down the middle, of this chart and kind of measure the width of your wedge. And take this, and depending on where this thing goes, you're looking at a move back up to around $1.30, right? Which was the last high it had back in March of last year. So almost a year ago. So that would be your measured move of the breakout out from this falling wedge pattern. So I'm just going to take a peek at the chat again. Got 139 viewers, 38 likes. Hit the like button, guys. Do me a favor. Craig Wright is Satoshi. Yeah, that's not. We need Uncle Joe back. This Trump dude makes crypto go down. That's funny. I know a lot of people are feeling that way, and I would just tell people just have some patience. The guy came into the U.S. government with a freaking with that baseball bat from The Walking Dead, right? That Negan guy with a barbed wire around it, and he's just shaking shit up, and it's gonna take some time. I'm not worried, man. I mean, when you look at narrative wise, and we look at what is actually happening from the government, from legislative side, there's so much to be bullish on. And I'm not going to share the news because this isn't a news-based show. But if you watch our morning show, that is where we cover all the news and kind of give our opinion on news. There is so much in the pipeline for crypto and all these cases that are dropping. It's just the markets are not hearing it. And at the end of the day, you can only control what you can control. And so what do we do in the meantime until the market catches up to the narrative and the bullish? Is we find ways to make money when the prices are not going up. When our spot bags are bleeding, we find other ways to make money, which we have been doing. I want to share this. It's kind of interesting. So this is Eleanor Tourette. She reposted this post from Chris Berniski, who is a part of a VC company. So similar views described to me yesterday by a crypto asset manager when I asked for his thought on the crypto sell-off. He said he thinks of the crypto market as three cohorts. One, crypto enthusiasts, individuals, and traders who follow the space daily on immersed in crypto Twitter. That's me. Mainstream self-directed individuals who see things occasionally but rarely buy or sell. Definitely not me. And number three, mainstream investment professionals. Now, the theory here from some of the VCs, some of the brightest minds, so to say, in the room, is that we're entering into a new phase of blockchain and cryptocurrency. Speculation is not going to have as much of an impact from a price standpoint as utility and actual use cases. And so the whole narrative of this is what we can do. Well, what are you doing? Who are you onboarding? And so it's important to really take a microscope, go down the list of the top 100 projects, go by category, go by, market cap, whatever you want to do, go by volume and take a look, find a project, open up a chart, go to the high time frame. You know what? Let's just do that now. Okay. Let's do that now. Let's go down the list. I'm like, okay, what projects have we heard are doing big things in the space? Okay. Let's take a look at, Hedera. Okay. Hedera. All right. Hedera, 20.9 cents. You can go to certain things like rwa.xyz. You can go to GitHub and look at the commits. You can go on their website. You can see their roadmap. You can go on social media. What are they announcing? What are they building? You can take a look at on-chain statistics. You can use products such as Nansen. You can use products such as Token Terminal. In fact, let's open up Token Terminal here. And you can go to Token Terminals, tokenterminal.com, and you go to your search here, and you can type in HBAR. Okay, HBAR Hedera. Here you go. It gives you a kind of a financial snapshot. Okay, all right, token trading volume, market cap, circulating, yada, yada, yada. What are some of their metrics? You can look at their financial metrics by category. What kind of fees are they earning? All right, are the fees going up? This one says no data to display. You can take a look at the instant configuration or selected filters did not return any data. Interesting. Okay, let's see if financial statement pulls up. Nothing, huh? Interesting. Okay. It's funny. It's like you use this stuff all the time and you go to show 130 people who are watching and nothing pulls up. It's just funny. Either way, this is just one resource, right? One resource you can use. The other resource you can use is intotheblock.com. You can use CryptoQuant. You can go on to Dune Analytics. I love this one. It's free. You can go to Dune Analytics. So you can type in HBAR or you can type in Hedera. Okay, let's actually type in Hedera. Type in Hedera and you can see what are people putting up. Now this dashboard's empty. Now with Hedera, you're not really going to see a lot of metrics, but I'm just using Hedera as an example. You can do Ethereum. You want to take a look at what's happening under the hood with Ethereum. The idea is you go through, you're like, okay, this project is building. Now let's go to the chart and see if this thing is undervalued. Pull up the HBAR chart. Super simple. Start with the highest time frame possible. To your eye, do you see any key levels of support and resistance? Not really clear. 6 month, a little bit, sure, 18.1 cents. Quarterly, a lot better. We see more candles, meaning more price action. So the first line I plot, I'm actually going to drop first one I plot here is this, right? So this is my initial area of value for Hedera, okay? Why? The bottom end of this is 14 cents. Back in Q2 of 2021, the initial, so we had that initial top and then prices retraced, Bitcoin retraced like 38, 40, almost 50%. Hedera got down to this level and reacted positively, and we went back up, made our second high around 57 cents. On the way down in the bear market, right, the end of 2021 going into 2022, we saw the initial Q1 candle of 2022 hit the top end of this region and price reacted positively. And then the very next time we came out, we gave away this entire area and we finished off the bear market around 4.5 to around 3 to 5 cents. Now on the way up, this has been resistance twice until we finally broke through. And where we are now in Q2 or Q1 of 2025, prices so far reacted positively to the zone. And then you just work your way through. Go to the monthly. Okay, do I see anything else on the monthly? Not really. Do I see anything else on the weekly? I do. I see this area on the weekly. And you just look at how price action now on the higher time frames, you got your value zones put out, correct? And now feel free, you can leave them on, go down to the 1 day, see how price, you see more candles, more price action. How is price reacted on the 1 day candles? How is price reacted on the 4 hour candles? And so to me, a project like Hedera with everything they're doing, it's right at my discount buy zone. And so if you're looking for projects that are solid, and it's in fact getting a nice bounce off this area too, which again is around 18, let me throw a flag on here, which is around 19 cents. So to me, this is easy. Now, the most important thing here is you say, okay, I've identified Hedera. I like what they're doing. I like what they're building. I like the team. I like the narrative they're in, the field. Great, perfect. All right. I want to enter a position here. I got 10 grand on the side or 5 grand or 100 bucks. Doesn't matter. Okay, cool. Now, what's my game plan? Do I want to hold it for a certain amount of time? Do I expect it? Do I want an expected amount returned to me, ROI? Do I think this needs an entire 2 cycles to play out? Have a game plan, have a profit-taking plan. Once you have that written down, put it somewhere safe and buy your Hedera bag. And then as the price goes up and it hits those targets, refer back to your piece of paper or your notepad and say, okay, I identify this level as a place to take 10 or 20% of my profits. That's what I'm going to do. So that is the most simplest way to not overcomplicate things. And I can sit here and I can tell you, Hedera is a great buy it now. But I want to explain to you guys and educate like how my mind works and how I've been able to get early positions on projects or have good cost bases on certain projects. This is the level of thinking and preparation that I personally go through. Doesn't mean that's something you have to do, but it's something if you do this on a continuous basis, you are going to learn so much and become such a better investor. And it's skills that translate across the board, whether it's crypto, whether it's stocks, whether it's really anything else in life. And so that's just one example of Hedera that I kind of wanted to show you guys. All right. I hope you guys got some value out of that. I'm going to just take a peek at the chat here. I can't believe Token Terminal did that to me. I'm very upset. I have to stop using Token Terminal altogether. All right, let me take a peek at the chat. Also, if you're new here, say hello. Matic, so retro, yeah. HBAR is very overrated. It's not even a real blockchain because they don't enforce slashing. Please look up slashing for validators. I understand slashing. You know, when Hedera came out with the hash graph, it was originally patent protected. But I'm happy that they went open source with it. It's very unique. So I like Hedera, man. To each their own. I like Hedera. Diego said thoughts on Caspa. I also love Caspa. I love Caspa even more at current prices. And I did this with Caspa too the other day on this very show, right? I identified value zones for Caspa. There was 2 of them. One was between 9 and 11 cents, which were below. The other one is 4.1 to 5.4 cents. And so I believe in what Caspa's building. I know the team. I've met with the team. I've hung out with the team. The team has been on my show. And so I'm bullish on Caspa. My thing with Caspa, though, I think for the people that are waiting for that 20, 30, 40x, I think you're going to have to wait one more cycle, which is not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. When you have a project like Caspa, and they hang their hat on no VC funding, fair launch. Everyone, they put their own time and resources in a building. That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. But understand that money is the gasoline to the fire. Why do you think Solana ran so hot so fast? Why do you think SUI ran so hot so fast? Why do you think Cardano is not running so hot so fast? There's a similarity. They have one thing in common. SUI and Solana have one thing in common that Casper and Cardano don't. That is VC funding and money. And so if you're going to go down that road of saying, I love it, no VCs, I can't mess with the price, it's going to take time to build out the ecosystem. And so Casper had a 20x from a penny to 20 cents. That was when everything else was really trending down or chopping sideways. And now Casper's been consolidating. But consolidation times is where you want to add to your bag or open new positions on Casper. But you give Casper one more cycle, it'll be, in my opinion, it'll be in the top 15. That's my personal opinion. Everything they're doing with the consensus mechanism and being proof of work and as scalable and with the amount of throughput that they are able to have, especially after they get to 10 blocks per second, to me, Casper's a no-brainer. But if you want to wait for the absolute rock bottom price, which we may never get there, this cycle is 5.5 cents. That's your top end of the line. So hope that answers your question, my friend. Leroy said Americans can't afford the basics. That is very true. Retail is screwed. What about AVAX? Daniel, you know how I feel about AVAX, my friend. Love AVAX. Why is Mara dumping Caspa? Very simple, Kishan. Marathon is a publicly traded company, meaning they have shareholders, meaning that the shareholders want the company to be profitable. What is the company's product and what is the company's resources? The resources they use is power and energy. What is their product? Mining Bitcoin. They have to sell the Bitcoin to pay for their overhead. And so it's very simple. So now, obviously, when the price of Bitcoin goes up, they have to sell less Bitcoin to hit their, whatever the amount is, whether it's, hey, we need $10 million a month in expenses to cover our overhead. Cool. If Bitcoin's at $1 million, that's only 10 Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's at 100,000, that's 100 Bitcoin. So you get the point. It's not the amount of Bitcoin, it's the price per Bitcoin and the price, because everything is still calculated in fiat currency. So they're a publicly traded company. They're in it to make money. They mine. They spend all this time, money, buying ASICs, energy, power, whatever. They got to sell their BTC. Craig Rice said, I bought HBAR at 0.5 cent a long time ago. I'm good. Yeah, dude, that's the other thing, right? Are you going to look back at the Hedera chart 6 years from now, 5 years from now? Let me tell you something, guys. That is not a long time, right? If you look at this chart 6 or 8 years from now, or 4 or 5 years from now, and even if you bought at 30 cents, at 35, 37 cents, what is this chart going to look like in 6 to 8 years? If they keep building, they keep onboarding, you'll look back and Hedera will be at $8 and you'll be like, man, Hedera's down. It's down from $8 to $4. And you know what you'll say? Yeah, I bought it at 37 cents. I'm good. And so it's just time, right? Time in the market is more important than timing the market. Shout out to Kathy Wood. Plasma said, I'm sticking to my plan and trying to become the biggest Casper whale of all time. Hey, man, power to you, brother. Blue Man said, I agree with Cass. It's going to my tangent. Look at a few years. Yeah, man. It's like, you got to give the team and the founders some time to build, man. This idea of just like, what is the term I'm looking for? Instant gratification. That shit's got to stop, man. We want these PhDs, these scientists, these developers to pour their time, their money, their energy, their resources into building something, and the token launches and everyone's like, well, when is it going to go up to this price? Well, when does it go up? Price goes down. Well, what are they doing? They're not doing anything. They're like, guys, the good builders, Caspa, Hedera, Cardano, Avalanche, I was going to say maybe Ethereum, but these guys, it's a long time coming. I mean, Charles Hoskinson, the guy, the moment the Chang hard fork went through and essentially his keys to the Cardano car were given over to the community, the guy cried on stage in front of people. Why? Because he spent 10 years working on it. And so put yourself in that shoe. You got someone working 10 years to build a product, and the people that are supposed to support you every freaking day, like, oh, the price is going down. You're not doing anything. You should do this. Everyone got to wait, relax, let these guys cook, give them some time, and it'll be worth your investment. I promise. Crow died. I am sad. John 3:16, Crow did not die. Don't be sad. Let's take a look at a Crow chart. Cronos, if you're not familiar, is the token issued by crypto.com. It also has an ecosystem. It is a layer 1, and I could have swore I had Crow. Whatever. Let's throw a new one on there. Crow, let's go crypto.com. Yeah, that's what we want. Bam, bam, Crow. Again, what do I do with every chart? Start with a high time frame, the highest time frame we can. Nothing there. 6 month, nothing there. Quarterly. Monthly, much better. Okay, so my initial zone, my initial value area for Cronos is here. Okay. Now this is on the monthly, is here. Why? You can see the price action. Support, support, resistance, resistance, support. And then now we've fallen through that support. Now if we zoom into the, let's say, weekly, we could take a look. I mean, you're talking about like rock bottom prices here for Cronos. And let me tell you something. The amount of money that crypto.com spends on their business via marketing, via listing projects, via activism and politics and policies, to me, there is zero chance in hell they let this thing fail. That's my personal opinion. There's your second value area buy here, right? Which are right there. You're looking at 7.2 cents, 5 cents, 5 to 7.2 cents for Cronos. And so the one thing we were seeing was higher highs on Cronos, but we gave up making a higher low. And so let's see what the RSI is telling us. This is again on a very high time frame. This is on the weekly. Nothing really. I mean, we're hitting that 80. We're hitting that oversold level, and we're just. I mean, every time this thing has come, the RSI has hit oversold at above 70. More specifically, 75 to 80. We see price retrace, right? So this is not something that spent any significant amount of time in oversold territory. We did have that massive run up, but the one beauty of it too is as crypto.com expands into other areas, we saw their roadmap. They want to get into stocks. They want to get into RWA on chain. And guess what they're going to leverage? They're going to leverage the Cronos chain. On top of that, their debit cards, I think are very popular, and they're revamping those. And so to be like, I guess you can call it a token gated access to certain features and products with the crypto.com card, you got to buy and stake and hold Cronos. And so it's an altcoin. Markets are down. The price is down, man. This thing got up to $1. And you're looking at 7 cents. And so I would look at this as, okay, I know the ecosystem is not big. I'm actually curious to see what TVL looks like for Cronos. Okay. Ranks number 17 in TVL, 380 million. 380 million in TVL. It's kind of flatlined over the last, since we hit our high back in, it's funny. We hit a high in TVL in April of 2022. Right. I think it was right before around the time of the bear market, and it just hasn't really recovered. And when you look at these, and maybe it's because I'm not deeply tied into the Cronos ecosystem, but I look at these names and none of them are like, I don't even want to say household names, but even familiar names. Now, obviously, if you're deep, you're knee deep into the Cronos ecosystem, these names might sound very familiar to you. Like, oh, I know that. I don't know what VVS is. I don't know what Orbi is. Veno Finance, never heard of it. And you're talking about projects. The highest one is VVS Finance. It's got 174 million in TVL. One weekly commit as far as developer activity. Let's go to their website. VVS Finance. I'm assuming, what was this, a DEX? Right? This is a DEX, right? DEX or yeah, it's a DEX. Okay. It's a DEX. Obviously DEX is going to have a number, but the idea is like, from an ecosystem standpoint, it's not really a large ecosystem. You look at Base, how fast did that ecosystem grow, right? But for me, the bet on Kronos is a bet on crypto.com. Very much so, a bet on BNB is a bet on Binance, although BNB does have more of a matured ecosystem, more DEXs, more lending, more tokens, more fees, more transactions, and really of everything. So, all right. Just going to take a quick peek at the chat, and then I will get into some other statistics. Flatsmack X21 Record said, Da Vinci telling his followers to sell all crypto. I wouldn't sell all crypto, man. Again, to each their own. I don't hate on the guy for his opinion. That's his opinion. I don't think you should sell all your crypto. I think that would be the dumbest thing to do. Unless you over leverage yourself and you can't pay your bills and you're like, shit, I need money, then yeah, I mean, you should have never been in that place in the first time, but still, that's the only way. But I mean, I don't know. Call me crazy. I don't think the bull market's over. I think we're going to see a drawdown to 71K, but that doesn't mean the bull market's over. Now, if we go below 71 and we spend any significant amount of time under 71, then sure, you can reassess. But certain part of my bags, and the people in my Patreon know this because I did a write-up on my 3 different buckets of investments and where they stay. But I would say 60%. 60% of my portfolio is in my 3rd bucket, which is my set it and forget it. Don't think about it for an entire, at least cycle and a half, 2 cycles. I'm not even tripping, man. I'm good. If anything, I'll look at it to buy more. But I mean, you look at some statistics and metrics, they say we're in a bear market. You look at the fear and greed is at 10. The fear and greed is at 10 and Bitcoin's at $84,000, which by the way, I'm going to take a peek at Bitcoin. I'm waiting for this thing to fall one more time. 83,227. So, you know what? Let's take a peek at the lower time frames. Let's go to the 15-minute. It says BTC on the 15-minute. Now, you don't want to put any significant weight on low time frames like this. You just want to get an idea, right? But again, I mean, I'm so sorry to sound like a freaking broken record, but it's, I mean, do you guys even need me to say it, right? Bear flag, channel, right? You call it a bearish pennant if you want, although this is more of a flag. And a break to the downside. Now your measured move would be 80,300 on this pattern if it breaks to the downside. So it's just, you go on lower time frames, a 30-minute, you look at the RSI, we're nosediving towards oversold. You look at the MACD, what's the MACD doing on the 30-minute? We just had, I believe, a bearish crossover on the MACD. Yes, we did. Bearish crossover on the MACD. Not good. You go to the 1 hour. What's the 1 hour telling us? You see another spill off, continuing to make lower highs here for BTC. So again, I'm kind of bummed out because it doesn't look like my limit order is going to get filled at 85.5. So, but either way, if it doesn't fill, cool. We'll look for the next trade. I don't like to chase me personally. Anytime I've ever chased a trade, I've always lost money. So I'm going to keep that limit order at 85.5 unless I see the structure change on the markets. And if we just throw on our price action concepts, see what any key areas, and actually let's go to the 4 hour for this. So in the 4 hour, we're currently in our discount zone according to this indicator, the price action concepts. You take a look at, there's a massive order block here between 89.2 and 90,500, where we saw a massive amount of buyers. Although the last time we visited this area, price didn't get a chance to react, right? I guess it kind of did. It kind of did, but eventually we tried to regain, but we broke below and we sold, right? We broke to the downside. But the more recent time where price actually came into this area was back on the 25th of January, and then price rebounded around 20%. Obviously, sentiment has changed, structure of the market has changed, and so I'm curious to see on the way up, what is this large order block? What is that going to do for BTC? And so that's on the 4 hour. If we zoom into the daily here on BTC, we filled this gap, okay? This gap between 81.7 and 84.9, we filled it on the wick. And so if you traded, if you traded this fair value gap, you would have made money, right? Even if you entered your midline, which was 83.2, and you sold at the top 85.3, depending on your leverage, you could have made money. So the next one you're looking at, if you like trading gaps, right? Everyone talks about the CME gap. Gaps are a great way. Typically, price does come back to revisit the gaps and fill those gaps. And the next one, if you want to take the same strategy, is 78,581 and long it to 80,300. We're not there yet. We're currently at 82.6, 82.5 for BTC. I actually think I have a personal trade open that I opened at 80 something. Maybe I did a market order. I think I did. But either way, again, I'm telling you, this might not be what people want to hear. I think there's still more downside. Could we see a minor relief rally? Maybe up to like 88K? Sure. But again, guess what? Guess what what pattern that would play into? It would potentially play in to another bear flag pattern, right? If we get to that 88K level, it would give us another bear flag pattern, right? If this thing plays out. So we'll see. This would have to get filled. We would see some choppy price action to the upside. You're talking about a gap between 82 and around 85, 87 to $88,000 and another move to the downside. And the next place we'd catch support really on high time frame, you're looking at gap 78.4, psychological round number 80,000, and then the next level is like 71.8K. So we'll see, but it looks like 81.3 is, oh damn, 81.3. Okay. What are you doing here, Bitcoin? What are you doing to us here, guy? Let's see what liquidations are. Guys, I'm curious. Do we get to 80K before I end the stream? We're at 81.3. Do we get to 80K before I end the stream? Put a 1 for yes, put a 2 for no. Let's see. We got 180 viewers. Make sure to like the video. Mitchell said, "Wow, we are dumping." Yes, we are. All right. Let's take a look. Let's go through the dump together, guys. Be one big happy dump family, okay? 15-minute on BTC. Still on our SNR levels. You can see every single time frame is negative for Bitcoin. We'll wait for this. Yeah, I mean, I don't even think we can get any solid SNR levels on such a low time frame. Let's go to the 30-minute. Let's go to the 30-minute. We're already seeing a large liquidation candle to the downside, bringing Bitcoins to 81.4. Let's go over to CoinGlass and let's take a look at, are we seeing large amounts of liquidations? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. $190 million is currently being liquidated per hour, and 98.34% of those are longs. I hope you watching. I know we say not financial advice, but I hope you're watching. I hope you guys have not been part of this 190. I hope you're not longing the market, right? I've been talking about negative price action, negative market structure, right? Like the simplest things. Don't fight the trend. You're fighting the trend if you're entering into longs. If you want to I don't know, unless you're in front of your computer 24/7 and you got like precise levels, even then you can try to long the support levels, but it's just not worth it. It's so much more worth it to short large resistance levels, even on the lower time frames. This was an easy short, 84.7, 86.8 is another easy short, right? Just ride that thing to the next support level and you'll make money. The one thing with stocks that I learned, and obviously with crypto too, is it drops faster than it goes up. I'll tell you, it's like a trap door opens underneath it, and this thing drops a lot closer. All right, let's actually go to the higher time frame. Let's go to the 3-day. So again, Do you have some confluence at 73,794 between the 1 day and the 3 day? And looks like, I thought we officially hit. Let me get rid of this. So RSI is at 36.6. See what our MACD is telling us. MACD is not telling us anything we didn't already know, but we see velocity picking up on the sell pressure. So 82.1. Again, guys, it's like hanging on by a thread here at 82K. 81.9, 82K. It's hanging on by a thread. And being in this market as long as I have, it's just, it feels like a mini bear market. That's what it feels like. I'm not saying we're in a bear market, but like if I were to compartmentalize, it feels like a mini bear market. Sentiment's in the garbage. We have no velocity with the bulls. They can't get the price up. And if they get the price up, sellers immediately step in and they push the price back down. Versus in these mini bull markets we have, you see any piece of news pushes the price up. You see any big, price action to the downside, any big sell-offs, immediately we see V-shaped recoveries. Price just immediately returns back to at least its previous high. And we're just not seeing that right now. And so instead of trying to fight the trend and find something that fits a personal narrative of yours, because you can't seem to think that, hey, maybe this is bearish price action. Maybe I should be shorting the markets to add to my spot bags or just to make some damn money. Instead of doing that, just look at what the chart's telling you, right? The chart's telling you right now, we're on the way down, babe. But we're going to make some money on the way down. I'm down so much. Join the club. I'm going to sell my AVAX. Daniel, I ain't your financial advisor, bro, but what are you doing? Why are you going to sell your Avalanche? Do yourself a favor. Before you sell your Avalanche, take 2 days, write down why you got an Avalanche, and write down whether any of those things, go do a checklist. Did any of those things change now? Outside of price, which if you only got in because of price, now I don't know what to tell you, man. Maybe crypto's not your thing, but don't, this is where people capitulate and they kick themselves in the ass 2 months from now. I'm telling you, man, I've been doing this for a while. When you feel euphoric, you take profits. When you feel scared, you don't make a decision when your emotions are high either way. Emotions are high to the upside, you're euphoric. Don't sit there and hold on to it thinking you're going to get another 2x and then you're going to sell. You're going to have a round trip in your bags. On the flip side, when everything's crashing and you're scared, you think the markets are never going to recover, that is not a good time to sell. It's really not. And so you're in a solid project avalanche, man. I don't know what you're worried about, bro. Chill out. Everything's going to be fine. Jess said, wow, family over here. Family. Mike V, good to see you. Mike V, I don't see a Mike V. Okay. Dusty Hunt said, I saw the devil candle. I had to pop in and see the chat. The devil candle. So yeah, guys, looks like, 82K looks like it's holding, right? We did get that wick down to 80,800, but we've seen a nice bounce back. We're going on the 1 hour on BTC. Interesting to see if this bullish divergence will hold. Will RSI hold, right? And I'll go to the 4 hour. Actually, I'll stay on the 1 hour. So at the beginning of the show, we kind of talked about a bullish div on the price of Bitcoin, right? Where we're seeing higher lows on the RSI, but lower highs on the price. And so if this bullish divergence is to stay and to potentially play out, we need to hold above a 2691 on the RSI. If we do and we get a bounce, great. This could potentially turn into maybe a reversal back up to that 87 to 91K level. And again, at that point, depending on what happens, depending on what price is, we either flip our strategy to long the support, or we continue with our strategy of shorting the resistance. But right now, we're shorting the resistance. Actually, let me see if I can take a look at my personal trading account and see if I am up. Ooh. I went from, okay, so I opened my position at 83,995. I think it was a market order. And I remember this thing ran up to what, 84K. I was down like 30%, but I'm currently up like another 30%. So just a complete flip in the price of BTC as far as for my trading. Take a look at the rest of the markets, and maybe if something pops out, we'll take a look at the chart. Again, we already talked about BTC. What's the biggest loser of the day so far? We have Radium. I would not touch Radium yet, right? We always talk about, has the thesis changed? The thesis for Radium has changed, right? And that is, they were the premier market maker, premier DEX. Now you got Pumped Out Fund with their own AMM. You got other projects I'm sure will follow suit. And so what is Radium's selling point? Their UI kind of sucks. It's very clunky. I've tried to do swaps directly on Radium and Jupe. I know Jupe is an aggregator. Radium's an actual like DEX market maker, but it's not a good experience. And so I would not touch Radium. Story is an interesting one. You know, Rob the other day was like, we kind of missed Story. And I was like, but not really. I talked about this. There we go. Story. Let's go Bybit. So we talked about this very kind of, not really a trade setup, but just a, hey, if you saw this thing come out, you were excited, but you wanted to buy it, but you weren't sure. I mean, we got to that $7.46 level on resistance and we got rejected. This one, we got a wick up to that 2 and 4 hour resistance, which was that $9.03 and got rejected. What did we see last time here? I'm not even going to count the wick. Okay. But the move, we saw a retracement of around 50% and then price moved to the upside. Okay. Let's draw our fib from this move. And look where price is, 50%, right? Last time it went up 50%, drew down. If you would have entered, you would have entered in at $3.88, cashed out at $7.47. And right now that's where we are. We're at that 50-cent level or 50% level at $5.85. So if you're looking to, I have a hard time longing anything, but this Mantra, and it was BitTensor, but that thing had a pretty big pullback. Mantra, and I would say Story/IP would be the two that I'd be willing to do the opposite of what I'm doing with literally everything else, which is long the support levels, because Mantra's been running absolutely hot. This thing's been on fire. If you're not familiar, Mantra's an L1 for RWA. And so it's got a very, I don't want to say niche, but it does one thing and people think it does it very well. Hence the amount of investors and people that are buying the product. So, but Story is another one. Like if you want exposure, we're at that 50% retracement level, might be a good time to get in. This one, funny hearing everyone say this is going to go to $100 billion. We're at 2. Fully diluted, 11.8. So I don't know if any of you bought this. I did not personally buy it. I was going to, but I was too late to the party. By the time I was trying to figure out, is this thing legit? Is it fake? It was too late. BitTensor is down pretty huge. It's down huge. Let's take a look at a BitTensor chart. Can we find some good entries for BitTensor? I am so hyper bullish on BitTensor. It's not even funny. All right. BTC, or sorry, TAO. Let's go to the 12-month, right? And let me get rid of this indicator here. 12-month, I know it's not going to show us shit. 6-month, not going to show us shit. Quarterly, monthly. Monthly's a little better, but let's go weekly on this one. Oh, yeah, look at that. Let's get rid of those. So on the monthly, okay, this is on the weekly actually. On the weekly, the value area I would put in would be right here. Right? Now your lower end of this rectangle here, your lower end is going to be $199. Now, I don't think it's going to get down there. I hope I'm wrong because I'll just buy more. And your upper end is $337, and we're below that. So we're in that discount zone. Now, more recently, what did price do when we got here? We got all the way down to $232, and price that same week closed higher than it opened. We saw this reversal inverted hammer, and then we broke to the upside by 36%. And so if you're looking for BitTensor, you're looking for value, to me, of course, not financial advice, this is a great value area for BitTensor at $317 with their DTAO and being able to actively participate in staking in certain subnets versus just the mainnet chain. BitTensor to me is an absolute steal. I am hyper bullish on AI. If you are too, there's very few projects like BitTensor. They're going to bring you the amount of value that BitTensor does. And then kind of take a look at the rest of them. Celestia, this thing ran kind of hot and came back down. Virtual Protocol, we talked about this on the live show this morning. $1 is a very, very strong level for virtuals. I know it briefly dipped under $1 for a short time frame. Let's throw on the chart here. Let me find $1. There's your dollar, okay? There's your dollar. Let's zoom out to the 6 hour. Just every time it hits $1, it rallies, right? Last time it hit $1, it rallied 31%. The second to last time. Last time it hit $1, it rallied 15%. Is it going to do the same thing? Potentially. I was trying to see if we had a head and shoulders here, but we don't. And if you zoom out, you don't really have enough price action history to look at what it's done previously at $1. But we're seeing what it's done at $1 now. If we throw on our volume range profile, where are you, volume? Volume is not there. Let's see if we can pick up another. Let's go virtuals. Let's go virtuals. Let's go virtuals Mexi. See if we can get. Okay. There we go. There we go. All right. So what kind of volume are we seeing? So we're seeing a lot of volume at around $1.55, which has ended up being a, and let me just throw the dollar back on here. Okay. There's your dollar. Okay. So we're seeing some volume coming in at $1, but your highest volume node is going to be around $2.92, and closer to the price we are now is at around $1.55. And so if, again, you're bullish on AI, you saw Virtuals Protocol go up from 30 cents to $5. We were able to front run this thing, and we made some good money here with us and some people in our community that decided to listen to our research. But if you've been waiting on the sideline, man, $1 virtual, it's a great buy. Good discount zone here. And then some of the gainers over the last 24 hours, right? You have Barachain. I'm not too familiar with this ecosystem. I know it's a fairly newer project. I know it was pretty far. It was farmed fairly largely. I'm not sure if that's the right vernacular to use. MakerDAO is another one at $1,730. ICP at $6.50. And Mantra essentially flat across the board. And I think this thing is really going to start to run. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin. 82.3 looks like it's kind of holding steady there at that 82K level. All right, guys. I think that'll do it for the show today. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate you. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you're subscribed. I do this every single weekday. Now, the only thing is, tomorrow, no PM show. We still got the morning show with the news with Rob and Rocco and the crew. But tomorrow night's PM stream is being pushed back to Saturday morning. So Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is when you'll have this show, the fundamental and the technical analysis show. And I'm working with an exchange to do some giveaways for you guys on Saturday. So come join me Saturday. It's going to be exciting. And yeah, man, that's all I got. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, make sure you subscribe, and we will see you in the morning for the morning show. Until then, peace. Daggy.